All right, taping this 11:40 Eastern time. John Jastremski, a.k.a. JJ, my friend, is in New York City right now. Refused to go to Game 4. Abandoned the Yankees. Abandoned them. Left them on the side of the road like a stray dog. And they went and they kept the World Series alive. And they beat the Dodgers. They killed them, actually. It was a bullpen pitching game for the Dodgers, this new 2020s way of how we do World Series games. I still really enjoyed myself. JJ, have you started to talk yourself into 2004 ALCS, the bizarro version, revenge, comeback?
Billy, don't let us get hot. Don't let us get one. Don't let us get one. Look, you're selling me out here, which is a little unfair. I was at Game 3. I am bringing our esteemed producer, Stefan, who helps me out all the time with New York, for Game 5. And I did a good deed. I didn't want to go to 3 straight games. I let my mom and dad go to their first ever World Series game. And I get the good karma of the Yankees avoiding the 1976 sweep, which was their World Series hiatus from 64 to 76. They played a big red machine. They get absolutely smoked. They needed to show some pride tonight. They needed to go out and show me a little bit of fight. And I don't care if it's a bullpen game. I don't care who the Dodgers were throwing. We get the result in New York that we desired, at least for putting off elimination for another day.
A lot of people, your Game 3 podcast has only been up for 24 hours. A lot of people are saying it's the saddest content that's been produced since Manchester by the Sea, the Casey Affleck movie. I don't know. You were really in a dark place after Game 3.
And you've seen me in a dark place before. I mean, I was superimposed on your couch during Wild Card Weekend after the Dolphins played in, negative 20 degrees. Yeah, I think you've heard me, and we're in our text thread with Jacko, where I get very angry and ticked off after these games. That's the way I felt after Game 1 when the manager decides to keep Tim Hill in the bullpen and goes to Nestor Cortez, which was managerial malpractice. But yeah, Game 3 was just sad. The new Yankee Stadium, Bill, doesn't have the same energy that the old place once did. That said, 30 minutes before the game, which never happens because you have all these corporate seats, the legends, the whole deal. 30 minutes before the game, everybody was in their seat. Everybody's there for introductions. Everybody's there when Jeter's throwing out the first pitch. The place was ready to go berserk for Game 3. And it just went right out the window when future first ballot Hall of Famer Freddie Freeman said, "See you later." And it was the minute the ball was hit, you knew it was gone. And the Yankees were dead to rights. And I wondered if we were going to get the same thing in Game 4 when, oh, by the way, they pitched to Freddie Freeman, which, if the Yankees are smart, stop pitching to this guy. I know Teoscar Hernandez is good. I know the Dodgers got a bunch of dudes. You cannot let Freddie Freeman beat you when he's got home runs now in 6 consecutive World Series games. Yeah. But they fall behind, they get off the mat. And how about Volpe, who has been much maligned, big Yankee prospect, didn't have a big regular season, but he's been solid in the postseason. Bill, when he has that base running gaff and he doesn't score, I'm like, geez, this is going to haunt him now for the offseason. Changes it with one swing of a bat.
Yeah, and by the way, he probably scores anyway after the base running gaff, right? It was bad.
Well, he would have scored, but the problem was Wells would have gotten to third base.
Right.
And you would have had a runner on third with one out, and that ground ball from Verdugo, which is what he loves to do, by the way. What an absolute stiff that guy is. I know you hated him. You said you're going to hate this guy. First month of the year, Jacko and I were talking ourselves into Verdugo. He stinks. I can't believe the Yankees are still playing him. But, the ground ball he hit should have tied the game.
He had a good at-bat today when you had the lead near the end of the game. So you're down 3-0. A sweep. I got to say, I was like a pig in shit today because I'm thinking
that's why you booked me. Who are we kidding? That's why you booked me. You were ready for the funeral.
We said win or lose, you're coming on. But there was a scenario where you get swept. Judge goes 0 for again. Soto goes to the Mets. Judge becomes hitter Kershaw, basically. And the Yanks miss their window. And it's a whole winter of, oh, my God. And now we can't fire Boone or Cashman because we made the World Series. We're stuck with this team. We're not as good as we were last year. So now at least you won a game. Judge gets going with a crucial RBI up 6. Looking good.
You mean Mr. June? You mean Mr. June?
Mr. Up 6.
Did you see the picture, by the way, in Los Angeles of Winfield and Aaron Judge standing literally right next to each other around the cage? Yeah, Mr. May and Mr. June, dude.
Maybe it's like
Mr.
a height thing. Maybe it's like taller slugger people. But Smoltz, he had that hit, and Smoltz is like, maybe that'll get him going. But, sometimes that does happen where these meaningless games and somebody can kind of relax and unlock a tiny bit. I don't know. Yes, tomorrow you've got Cole versus Flaherty, and all the Red Sox fans that I'm on the text thread with are like, fuck, this is going back to LA now because Flaherty can't beat Cole. I'm not as sold.
So Flaherty, it's interesting because in the NLCS against the Mets, he threw a gem in game 1. He was in the exact situation that he's going to be in game 5, up 3-1, and the Mets pounded him. Alonso hit a home run in the first inning. He was out of the game in the second and the third inning. He had nothing. I think Flaherty can go either way. Here's the thing with Cole, and I know I'm going to come on the New Yorkers making excuses for the ace of the staff. He's not 100% right. And that's why in game 1...
You've been saying that for a while, by the way.
He's not, because he's not missing bats. He's kind of grinding it through. Like, I'm not going to be surprised at the end of this year if something is announced with Cole. I don't know how serious it might be, but he's kind of gutting this out. Like, that's why, 7th inning, they basically went out to the mound. Boone didn't yank him right away. They kind of conversed when he was only at, 85 or 90 pitches, when I'm like, wow, this is a quick hook. I don't know if you're getting vintage virtuoso Cole, but he needs to give you 6 strong. That, to me, is the pathway for the Yankees to win a game. 6 strong, Canely, who's good against lefties, who you didn't see tonight, and then your buddy Luke Weaver, who you could have had in your fantasy league, who
21 pitches tonight.
He's got a little bit of a screw loose, which I like. I think you kind of need that if you're going to be a successful closer. The guy was a failed starter. He was solid in the Yankee bullpen all year, but then kind of got that role in September and has kind of hit the ground running. He was nails tonight, Simmons. Those were big outs he got for him.
The case for a possible comeback, you couldn't have gotten a worse Judge performance so far. Maybe he can actually carry. And if he does anything in game 5, the crowd's going to go out of their mind. But then Ohtani is officially not looking right, and Freeman kind of switched bodies with Ohtani in a lot of ways, and he's been crushing it. But if Freeman cools off at all with the way Ohtani looks, all of a sudden that Dodger lineup becomes a little more palatable. And I also wonder, is there some weird karma from the fans that interfered with Mookie Betts? Which, by the way, those guys are now legends.
That was one of the worst interferences I've ever seen in my life, because watching it live,
what was worse? Unless they punch Mookie in the face, how
the guy literally
worse?
is like sticking his fingers in the glove, and you could tell Mookie's like, dude, just get the fuck off me, man. Get the fuck off me. But listen, here's the problem. There's a pathway for the Yankees getting this back to LA. I think that's very viable. I think it's very feasible. Yankees hit it home, getting a little bit more confidence with the bats. Volpe, Wells down at the bottom of the order, and Flaherty being off this game. The problem I have thinking down the road, Rodon against the Dodger lineup, and you were at game 2. He does not match up well. And I think he is mentally weak. I don't trust him at all. And the Yankees have seen Yamamoto twice. I went to the Friday night game in the regular season. He mowed him. You went to the game 2 on Saturday night. He mowed him. That is not a game where I say, wow, the Yankees are set up for success. However, if they get there, I'll take my chances. Why not? Can I get there? Can I get that? I may actually get on the plane Friday. I'll join the Yankees. They might let me on the charter. You never know.
I'll tell you, somebody who's been in this spot as a fan, JJ, when you're down 3-0 and you feel like all hope is gone, and then you steal that 4th game, and then all of a sudden that 5th game, and then you're hopping on a plane. That pressure for the home team in that game 6 is pretty intense. That was the famous game where A-Rod slapped Arroyo.
Oh, I was there. You don't have to tell me. I was in the right field bleachers, and this is pre-cell phone. This is pre-Twitter. So being in crummy seats at the old Yankee Stadium, even though I love the right field bleachers, there was nothing like it. One of the most rowdy places you'll ever watch a game. Nobody knew that A-Rod slapped the ball. And as you know, as a diehard Red Sox fan and somebody who filmed a documentary on the 2004 ALCS, they had 2 replay reviews before replay reviews were a thing. I mean, they didn't do this in baseball. They did it on the Bellhorn play down the left field line. And then everyone at Yankee Stadium is like, wow, this is how the Red Sox are going to lose this year with A-Rod slapping the ball. Because in the outfield, you're thinking he just ran right into him. And we know, unfortunately, how that went. But when was it for you that you because you had 86 years of this, your father, all the history in New England. When was the moment for you? It wasn't in game 4. I don't believe it was in game 4. When did you start to believe?
Game 5. At some point
it was
in
an
game
epic
5.
game.
But
that was
mainly
an epic
because
game.
I was like almost my nervous system was shutting down. But by the time we got to game 6, when that review happened of the A-Rod play, that was where the 86 years of history comes in, where of course they're going to review it and decide it's fine. And then the Yankees get the play. And that's just how it goes with the Red Sox. That brought back like Ed Armbrister and Carlton Fisk, like all the shit from the past. And when that went the Red Sox way, it became one of those, oh, okay. But I mean, the way we were running through pitchers in those 4 games, you never felt safe. Even when we had that huge lead in game 7, didn't feel safe because we had put so much miles on the pitching staff, which I think you're going to be in the same situation if this keeps going, because you're going to need 40 pitches from Leiter and from Weaver every game. And that's just the way it's going to go if you win 4 straight.
They have an off day if they could ever win game 5. And if I'm not mistaken, the Red Sox and the Yankees did not have an off day.
We had the rain before game 3. Yeah.
And I remember that game was an afternoon game 5. It was like a 4 or 5 o'clock game. I remember I ran a track meet, hustled home, watched the game. It was like 4 or 5 o'clock. Simmons, the game was going until like 11:30, 12 o'clock. And then the Red Sox were all giddy. They're chugging their Jack Daniels. And the Yankees had no pitching. That was the dirty little secret for the Yankees. After Messina in game 5, they had Lieber, who was okay. But game 7, it was either the corpse of Kevin Brown, who was a stiff, and then they're going to Vasquez out of the bullpen because El Duque was hurt. El Duque getting hurt was a huge underrated factor that cost the Yankees that series. But yeah, it's problematic. But the off day, get length out of Cole, find a way, and then, hey, put all the pressure on the Dodgers.
So this is even better than a sweep that you got sucked back in after your Manchester by the Sea podcast.
It beats the alternative. I'd rather have the hope and be sucked in going to a game than get swept. I mean, they got swept by the Astros 2 years ago, and it was like, it felt different because it was like, put me out of my misery. I know I'm going to sound like a spoiled, rotten Yankee fan. That's fine. I'm going to do that. 15 years not going to the World Series, Bill?
That's a long time, man. There's
20-year-olds
that don't remember Yankees World Series.
You will not believe. So I did a show Saturday night after the Yankees clinched the pennant. And I had so many young Yankee fans calling in. Yankee fans like under the age of 27 that were just like head over heels, so giddy and so excited because they're like, JJ, you don't get it. We don't know what this feels like. The last time we were in the World Series as Yankee fans, I was 6, I was 7, I was 8. I'm like, dude, you guys are making, as someone that lived through the whole 90s and the 2000s, and now I'm getting up there in age, it kind of made me feel old, Bill. I'm not going to lie, man.
It's like when you talk to the Dolphin fans who remember the last time they won a playoff game.
Lamar
in 1994.
Smith. No, 2001. Thanks. 2001. It was the idiot liquored up kicker game with Vanderjack.
Yeah, that's right.
Peyton Manning. Dolphins in Fielder beating Peyton Manning. May never see another one again.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do New York Yankee fans like this Yankee team? Like a 7?
There's somewhere in the middle. I think they're never going to be in love with management. And I think it's kind of, for those of you who watch The Simpsons, you know, when Mr. Burns puts the sign up in Homer's office, don't forget you're here forever. That's kind of how they feel with Cashman and Boone. They're here forever. And now that they've gone to the World Series, love it.
It's another 4 years at least.
No, guaranteed. Every bit of it. But the Yankee fan loves Soto. Not likes. Loves Soto. They like Cole. They want Judge to be the man. And I think everything about Aaron Judge is amazing. He's a great dude. He's a great leader. All the kids want to be him. He's performed in the regular season. But I think he's the guy now that whenever this goes south, he's going to get his MVP award. You know, he's going to be doing the media tour in a month from now. But if he does not have another moment or two in this postseason, it's going to be such a classic but.
Yeah.
And that but would only go up times 1 million if he's not teammates with Juan Soto. I think, Bill, if the Yankees re-sign Juan Soto in the offseason, because there's this angst, the Mets weren't a serious player for Judge because Cohen got the team. I think he wanted to play nice with Hal. They they were never really in on Judge.
Yeah.
They will be really in on Soto. They're going to offer Soto $550, $600 million. It's going to be an outrageous contract. And what choice do the Yankees have? You're going to let this guy who's 25 and is a future Hall of Famer as a hitter leave when you're not trying to win a championship? So I gave you a long-winded answer. The Yankee fan, I think, is going to like this team that much more once they know Soto is going to be a part of it for years to come. I think there's that angst at the moment.
I think the Dodgers have to be considered to be in play for Soto too, right?
I can't see it, man.
They have all that Ohtani money deferred. It's basically like they have money to spend right now on somebody.
But if they win the World Series this year, if we're living in a world where they go and they win the World Series, are they going to have that sense of urgency? I kind of get the sense that Boris, that was a John Heyman story. Kind of feel like Boris leaked that to his pal.
Yeah.
Oh, I do. I think it's like, hey, everyone's saying Yankees, Mets. Come on, Johnny. Go drum up the Dodger interest in Soto. I'd be stunned. Giants, to me, are more feasible because they're desperate. The Giants have not gotten a big free agent in forever. They missed out on Aaron Judge. I'd be more worried about them than the Dodgers, personally.
So I heard the vibe, the like hour and a half to an hour to a half hour before the game today was the vibe was weird in the stadium. What is Game 5 going to be like now?
Oh, I think far more energetic.
Yeah,
because you're coming off a win. Like, I don't expect the vibe in any stadium to be good if you're down 3-0. I mean, you've been in a ton of buildings where you're down 3-0. What do you, the idea, what do you expect the fan to be?
In 04, the vibe was, we don't want to get fucking swept.
That's the way I felt tonight. Yeah. Don't get swept.
Don't get swept. But I don't think anybody had illusions of, if we get this, 3 more. It was just like, they beat us 19-8 in Game 3, and it was like, please don't get swept. Don't get embarrassed. These guys beat us last year. Let's not get swept. And then it just kind of builds from there. But that's the genesis of it. And the problem for me with the Yankees, you guys are so bad at certain things that are these key essential playoff baseball things, like the base running and defense and, the manager.
The fundamentals. They're awful.
Just like basic shit you need to just keep winning playoff rounds. And you're just kind of winning despite all of these things as I keep watching. And it would just be weird if that was a World Series team that makes this many like self-inflicted mistakes.
I think it's totally fair. And listen, it was very costly in Game 1. I know the decision that Boone made going to Cortez is something that I roasted him on for an hour and a half. And
it was horrible.
It's as bad as it gets, but it should have never gotten to that point. Soto, who I love, and I want to resign him and I give him $1 zillion, he is a butcher in the outfield. The idea that he was nominated for a Gold Glove is an absolute farce. How can anybody watch that guy and tell me he's a Gold Glove caliber outfielder? Kike Hernandez hit a ball, Game 1. Should have been a double. He misplays it into a triple. Yeah. And then in the 8th inning, they scored the tying run because Gleyber Torres, who, I got to be fair, he's been very good this postseason. He had a big home run tonight. He's done a good job in a leadoff spot. His baseball IQ stinks. Whether it's in the field, whether it's on the bases, this is something that has drove Yankee fans crazy for the last 5 years. He doesn't block a ball. And yeah, you're right. Like, they run the bases terribly. They're an average defensive team. They have some really good defenders. Like, it's not that they're all butchers. Like, Rizzo is a very good first baseman. Volpe defensively is a very good shortstop.
You could throw out base runners.
Yeah. Wells behind the plate is a good catcher. And I give Chisholm a lot of credit. He's never played third base before. And they literally traded for him and said, hey, you're the third baseman. And it's not been perfect, but he hasn't made a total ass of himself.
Right.
But yeah, that's not a team from like a base running fundamentals baseball IQ standpoint that you say, wow, that looks like a World Series winner. Totally fair.
So you've had this pod with us for like 3-4 years. I can't even remember. At least 3, right?
2021. Yeah.
Yeah. So this New York stretch this has been by far the most fun stretch of the pod. But where does it rank like last 25 years for New York sports with all the shit going on? Because even the teams, like you have the Jets who are 2-6, but have been like a content machine. You have the Giants who have the Hard Knocks that the unintentional comedy is through the roof. The owner claims he's not getting rid of the coach in the gym, but he probably is. You have the Knicks with all the big trades. You have the Nets basically gutting their team and trying to go for a draft. Like, it's just everywhere. And you have the Mets making the run. Everywhere you look, there's like New York storylines, which is kind of what we were hoping when we launched the pod, right? I mean, this is like the Nirvana.
So I always was jealous of our buddy Francesa and Doggy that they got to live through the late 90s, where they got the Knicks with Riley into Van Gundy, the Yankees dynasty, the Mets with Piazza. And I'm like, when am I going to get that in my career? Because I go back to 2011 is when I started doing radio. So I've been doing stuff in the market for a decade, been doing the pod here with The Ringer for 3.5 years, doing TV. This has been my favorite time as a sports professional in New York City. It's not even close, Bill. It's not even close. You had the Yankees in the World Series. You had the Mets come out of nowhere, absolute nowhere, double-digit games under 500, winning the playoffs to get in the playoffs on the final day of the year in like the most dramatic way imaginable with Lindor. Then Alonso in the wild card, they're down to their last out, and he hits a home run to go and give him the lead, and you get a crazy grimace, OMG, all that stuff. The Knicks are the most fun they've been since the Patrick Ewing days. Not that I'm a big hockey guy, but the Rangers were in the Cup final. And you're right. The football teams, as crummy as they may be, it always seems to be something. So, yeah, full circle. This is the most enjoyable, 12-month run I've had doing New York sports content as a broadcaster. As good as it gets.
Just wait until the Giannis Knicks trade rumors start. As soon as OG's contract is tradable. And now all of a sudden, we got little Towns and OG for Giannis and a contract, and that momentum starts.
Talk to your buddy Doc about that one. Try to make that one happen.
It might be happening if they keep looking like absolute crap. All right, so predictions. When do the Yankees get bounced?
They're going to get it back. No, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be very honest. They're going to get it back to California and lose Game 6.
Okay.
I think they will have a moment with Cole. Maybe Judge actually has a moment. What a concept that would be. They'll get the off day. I'll really start to believe. And Rodon will get shelled for 7 runs. That's my prediction. Dodgers in 6.
So game tomorrow, off day, 24 hours of hype, hope. Are you going to go to LA? Well, I don't want to miss it. This happened 20 years ago, blah, blah, blah. And then, even making it to a Game 6 has never happened in World Series history. We've had 21 teams just finish the sweep. 3 got it to Game 5 and then won it. And no team has been down 3-0 and even gotten to Game 6. So that's not nothing, but not something you'll be telling your grandkids about either.
No, I get that. But they'll save some face, this team, at least, if they're down 3-0 and they get it back to LA. I'm not saying it will be easy to stomach, but it won't diminish the achievement. And I know the bar has been lowered considerably in Yankee land, getting to the World Series now.
You're not going to say this, are you?
No, they haven't made the World Series in 15 years. Ask Jacko. He came on with you last week. Wow, I don't think you understand how bad it's been for Yankee standards.
You just called it an achievement to make the World Series, though. The New York Yankees.
It's a step in the right direction.
27 World Series?
Yeah. I can't say.
And unlike the Lakers, you don't cheat and count titles from
Minnesota
other cities.
Titles.
Yeah, Minnesota titles.
But you can't say it's a failed season, can you?
No. You made the World Series.
That's what I mean. I'm not saying that I'm pumping my chest saying, yeah, AL pennant, AL champs.
Well, that's great because now I know that the 2003 losing to Florida, I guess, was now a huge success.
By the way, that World Series bothers me so much, and it never gets talked about. That 2003 World Series made me so sick to my stomach. David Wells out of shape, not being able to pitch in Game 5, and we were hungover from the Red Sox. Finished the damn series. You lost to the Florida Marlins. I see Beckett with the water. Everyone killed McKeon. He started Beckett on 3 days rest in Game 6. Everyone was like, are you nuts? This is the dumbest managerial move ever. He throws a complete game shutout. McKeon is smoking cigars on the Yankee Stadium field. So, listen, let's get to tomorrow. That's where I'm focused, Simmons.
The most shocking Yankees one was when the Diamondbacks actually beat Rivera. I think that's the most shocked I've ever been by a baseball game, that somebody could actually make Rivera just get winning runs off of Rivera when he was at the all-time invincible, unhittable. And just even as it was happening, it was like, I just can't believe what I'm watching right now.
And that was when Soriano in the 8th inning hit a ball off of Kurt Schilling. The ball was literally at his ankles. Hits the home run, gives the Yankees the lead. Yeah. It's like, holy shit, they're going to win again. But they got so outplayed in that series. They won Game 4 last out. Game 5, last out, Young Kim. Remember him melting down on the Yankee
Well, that was
Stadium
the thing.
mound?
They had the melting down closer, and you also had all the 9/11 stuff that it just felt like it was team of destiny.
Inevitable. Yeah, inevitable.
And
Until
then
it
all of a
wasn't.
sudden, and Rivera on the mound, 3 more outs, and we're done. And my jaw was dropped. And even I, as much as I hate the Yankees, was kind of semi-rooting for them.
Yeah, that was one you would have been okay with. You would have been okay with that one.
I really got caught up a little bit, like the 2 comebacks, the Brocious and Tino, and it was cool. I thought the city really needed it.
They did. And that Game 5, no better sporting event I've ever attended. And that includes the 6 overtime game. Doesn't get better than that.